Hi, this is Gloria with stampwithgloria.com. Today I'm going to continue my series of blendabilities. They're a new product we have in the Stampin' Up! Catalog this year. I'm going to use the Life in the Forest stamp set and the On Film Framelits dies to make a cute little card. I'll show you what the card looks like. Here it is. And it's a little fox in the woods and a Polaroid snapshot. Thought it was pretty cute. So how do we get this card to look like this? Well, let me show you. First of all, I'm going to make a background here. When you use the Framelits die, what it does is it punches out like the Polaroid image or part of the picture, like the old-fashioned Polaroids, and then you have the square in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to actually use the square that goes in the middle to stamp on, and I'll just set the Polaroid part aside for now. Now, how do you get this background in these trees like this? Pretty easy, and it's a technique I've shown in other videos, so I'm going to show it to you again right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Memento pad. It's in our catalog this year, and I'm going to ink up those trees, and I'm going to just stamp them right on the side of the photograph here. So now we've got our trees. One thing I've discussed before in making masks, I make the masks out of this nice thin paper that we use to stamp on. I use two-way glue stick on the other side and make a post-it note. On purpose, I left a gap in between the trees connected because I want a little light showing behind the trees once I get done. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. Well, actually I can show you right now. See how that light pops out behind the trees? It just gives it a little bit more dimension. I like it, so I keep it that way. So I'm going to cover the trees with the mask and show you a little brain technique. I'm going to take the Pool Party stamp pad. It's a little bit greener, the Pool Party, and I wanted the picture to look more soothing than real bright blue. And as I've demonstrated in other videos, when you roll or bray onto the cardstock, you start off of the paper and then you roll on and you just keep going back and forth. Okay, there will be automatic dark and light spots. That's just because of the way the ink goes onto the brayer. And when you do ink up the brayer, you want to lift it up and down a couple of times. You just don't want to go back and forth because then you don't get the whole circumference of the brayer. So lift and then roll back and forth a little bit. Start off the paper, go on. I'm going to pull down a little bit to give the illusion of a lake. A little lake going on behind there, but now we've got that nice background going. To clean your brayer, you're just going to rub it off. It's all clean, ready to go for the next project. Because I don't want this ink sticking on my card anywhere, I'm going to pull that right off. So now we've got the trees. So how do we color the trees? Well, we're going to take the blendabilities in the Old Olive color palette. Pull this off the trees. See, the trees are nice and white. I've got that little white in behind. That's exactly what I wanted. So everything's working out just fine. Perfect. In my previous video, I talked about the blendabilities and how each package you'll get a light, a medium, and a dark color in whatever color category they have. So this happens to be Old Olives. Everything is written, you know, you can't mess this up because light is written on here in Old Olive. And you're just going to take the cap off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the light spots in the trees right away. So we're going to color this all in. The entire tree is going to be colored with the Old Olive. All right. I'm trying to be careful not to go outside the lines. I don't like to be a messy color because this is like when we were kids and we had to keep everything within the lines. You could always tell the neat colors versus the kind of sloppy colors there. Okay, so now I've got the whole tree colored in with the lightest color. Now, the medium color. All right. I want the light hitting from this side coming into the picture. So what do I do with the medium color to get that you know, that definition, you know, to give that tree some oomph. Okay, so the medium color, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that color in on the side that hits the light. Okay, so I'm just going to outline the tree just on that one side. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. I've been told if you make the same noises as I do while you're stamping, your picture comes out a lot better. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'm going to go with it. Then, if the light is hitting from this side, the reason I made that a medium color is because the tips of the pine needles are darker on the very end of it. So this side of the tree will be a little bit darker. Now the darkest part falls in the shade, so we are going to shade this side of the tree, and then we're going to pull that shading right across the bottom of the tree. Okay. Whoop. Okay, so now that doesn't look like what I had in the picture here. This looks a little bit more blended, a little, you know, less intense, kind of even looks like maybe pine needles going on there. How do you do that? Well, we've got the color lifter pen here, and what we're going to do is just take and lift some color. It also blends the color in. So I'm going to work in the middle. We're just lifting color, blending the color, which is what we want to do. Okay, getting rid of some of those harsh lines, because we really don't want to see the harsh lines. We want this to look really cool. So I'm going to finish this up here. Doop, doop, doop. There. Remember to make the sounds. Makes your artwork come out a lot nicer. Okay, I did leave this little space over here so that we can stamp a sentiment on it eventually. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I tell you I do not put sentiments on my cards. I make a ton up. Like this card, for example, I made 10 of them because they're a nice boy card. But I don't put any sentiments on them because our sentiments change all the time. And I don't want to be stuck with a card with a certain saying on if I have a new sentiment that I like better. So as you can see, we kind of blended in that color, and that was just using this blender pen here. Now from, this is from the, I forget what it's called. Love it. Well, this marker is bronze, and I think it's from like the skin tone set. And I'm just going to pull some color down. Okay, I'm only going to do half of the tree trunk, and then I'm going to pull some more color out with the lifter because I don't need it quite as dark as that. So that works for me. It's looking pretty good. Okay, how do we do the fox? Well, the fox is pretty easy to do, and like I mentioned in an earlier video, the fox, the artwork is what you're dependent upon when you're doing these videos, because the artwork will determine how you stamp these images. And so I'm going to grab my little fox here. Good. Okay, we'll take the memento, ink that up, stamp him on a piece of scrap paper. You probably wouldn't use this big of a scrap paper. I'm just doing it for the video, so it'll be okay. You won't waste all of that gorgeous whisper white scrap paper like I did, but I just want you to be able to see this very clearly. Okay, so we've got light, medium, and dark, and we're going to start with the light, and we're going to color the whole fox in with the light, tips of the ears, everything. So we're just going to take and run him through quick. Try to keep his eyes open for his nice white snout. There we go. Yes. And then we're up into his tail. I love foxes. When we lived up north, we had a couple. They'd come out every spring, and then they bring their kits out later in the spring, of course. And they'd play in our backyard. It's kind of fun since we lived in town, but our lot butted up against a swamp, so they must have had their home in there. Okay, so now we went the whole entire image with the light. Okay, now where do we put the medium? Okay, the medium, we're gonna pull like halfway down his legs. See how that's starting to pop a little bit? The medium we're gonna pull down into his tail here and across the top. Isn't that cool? We're gonna pull it down into his nose a little bit and his cheeks, and then we're gonna give his belly a good blast. Whoop, right in there. Okay, so see, he's starting to come together. Then we've got the dark. Now, on a fox, the darkest parts of him are going to be where he's walking, of course. So we want to make the bottom parts of his leg dark. Okay. Then the top of his coat will be dark to try to blend in to the woods. Okay, so we want that dark. The tips of his ears will be dark. Okay, so we're going to blend that in. And the tip of his nose will be dark. So now you can see we've got a nice looking fox going on there. I'm going to take I love doing these videos because my mind wanders. We're going to take the color lifter. And this is just a little trick. I want it just a smidge darker. So I am going to take that bronze again. And this is a little trick I showed you in other videos. Now, this is an alcohol-based pen. This will not last long on this acrylic block. So what you want to do is take the color lifter, lift the color off, and then we're going to touch and we're going to intensify a small portion of the fox here. Woohoo! Because in real life, they would be a little bit darker on top. There we go. I did it. Love it. Now I'm going to color that, the color that's left on that lifter out, and we're going to blend. Okay, so the color lifter is basically taking color off and blending the other colors together. There you go. Woohoo! Good. All right, blend in here. There. So now we got our cute little fox. Isn't he adorable? All right, and this is just an extra trick for you to pull in color in case you want to intensify it a little bit. Now, how do I do the rest of the card? Okay, well, we'd cut out him, of course. How did I do the grass? Very simple. I'm looking at this. I'm going to take a piece of mossy meadow green paper. Is that not awesome paper? That's in our new in colors. I just love it, love it, love it. Just love that green. And then I'm going to take our shears here, our fringe shears. I'm going to cut the grass in. And then grass is not the same length in the wilderness. And I've talked about this before. So we're going to cut at an angle this way. And then we're going to flip it over and cut at an angle this way because grass grows in different ways in the wilderness. All right. Then you can see we will just put this, we'll just stick that to the bottom right there. We would cut out our fox, put him on, and then let me show, this is a basic technique. I just want to show you real quick. People forget how to do this, and it's a super easy thing to do. So what we're going to do is just take a piece of scrap paper. I want to show you how easy this is to do. Okay, oops, sorry about that. I guess we'll use this one. And when you want to put it onto your cardstock like this, it's super easy. Actually, hang on a second. I will just grab a piece of cardstock. It would be easier to show you that way. Here we go. All right, here's the cardstock. It's one of those days when you do a video and you want it to be smooth and it's not quite smooth, but you've done it 4 or 5 times and you're thinking, hello audience, today you get what you get. I hope you understand. Okay, so now an easy way to get this background stamp on this cardstock and lined up is I do it upside down. Then I take and I put it right down onto the image, and then I take a scrap piece of paper and I rub and I found that this is the most effective way to put one of these images on without messing up your cardstock. It's a foolproof way for every customer to put it on, and they get great results every time. So it's just a little tip you can tell some people. Another little tip is, so we've got our Polaroid camera, and then we would put, here's the card itself. We'd put everything together, tie our ribbon on, but here's another little trick for you. So it's easier if we put the Polaroid part on, all right? But I cannot possibly stick it just on that edge. So if you use our silicone mat, the silicone mat keeps the tape, okay, from going outside the edges. So I'm going to just get that all stuck on there, and then I would stick that on my cardstock at an angle just like I do with the original. Okay, so we're going to stick it on. So now you've got a base. Okay, so but we're not going to punch down the middle. Okay, we don't want to do that quite yet. There's a little glue here we're going to put to the middle because we'll be using it in a second. Oh, you want to keep this edge up because then you can take the ribbon and tie it around. Okay, and then all you'd have to do is just tape the back of this and tuck it right into the Polaroid, and then it's going to be in there perfectly. You know, you don't have to fuss with, you know, trying to get both pieces of paper together and then sticking it down. All right, so that's a couple little tips on how to put this card together. I hope you like this video, even with my couple of flub ups, but it's another way to use the blender markers of the Blendabilities. I hope you like it. Go to stampwithgloria.com. You can buy any of the items I used here. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.